Hey folks, and welcome to Mac Reads a Book. Today we're going to be reading Chapter 2 from my novel, All the Answers. Beautiful cover there. So join us, and I hope you enjoy it. All right, here we go. Chapter 2, entitled Bet, Check, or Fold. The plain-looking fella cocked his head and gave another slight grin. I think I have the fuel covered, and my nose doesn't work too well right now, so you being ripe won't be a problem either. Besides, there's a truck stop not far up the road where you can buy a shower if you like. His grin got wider, and he had a gleam in his eyes as he continued. You'll be happy to hear that I can take you all the way to San Fran, if you don't mind a small detour, and aren't in a big hurry to get there. And you're most welcome for the barn alert, as you so eloquently put it. My excitement hit the roof when he said he could take me all the way to the Pacific. I knew the trip was more than 800 miles from here. In my excitement, I almost didn't register anything else that he'd said. When I'd made this plan, I was sure I'd be walking most of the way, with short rides in between when and if I could get them. With all the possible side trips and distractions along the way, I figured I'd be at least 17 by the time I actually made it there. All the way, I just couldn't believe my luck. One hitch and I'm there. Hang on, he said something about a small detour. Well, that sounds ominous, was my other's reply. Small detour, Grown-ups always try to make things sound all a picnic with Pollyanna, when in fact things are more like a daydream with Freddy Krueger. It's probably a side trip to the Canadian border for some reefer. This guy looks hip to the scene. Or to some dark, dank, isolated shack in the middle of BFE where he'll have his way with our corpse, my other musely darked. Darkly mused. Fun. The plain-looking fella knitted his brow, and a shadow of dismay crossed his countenance so quickly that I wasn't sure I'd actually seen it. Then his soft smile returned. Well, kid, bet, check, or fold. Bet, check, or fold? Poker analogies on the heels of my internal all-in affirmation? This was the first moment where I got the notion this man could read my mind. I dismissed that thought even before it was fully formed. Besides, lots of people love poker. Check, I said, keeping a perfect poker face. Still standing outside the passenger door, bent over the window frame like my man, Mr. Dean, I asked, Can you tell me a little more about this detour you mentioned? Not much to tell, really, except the detour won't add any physical distance to the trip, but it will take some extra time. Or perhaps I got that backwards. Regardless, if you need to get to Frisco on a schedule, I'm not the ride for you. But if you're keen to gamble and want to go all in. He looked at me and waggled his eyebrows up and down a few times like Groucho in those old B&W movies. To make things worse, every time he speaks, that accent of his threatens to crack me up. Throw in those facial expressions and those damned eyebrows, and I'll be rolling around in the borrow ditch with my hands clutching my sides soon. Yeah, was my other's Bostonian reply. Oh, man, don't start to crack up now, I admonished myself. An invading thought hijacked my attention. I pushed off the window ledge with my forearms as the rest of what he'd said struck home. I stood there, my arms at my sides and my hands making tight fists, while my brain worked furiously to put all the pieces together. He read it, my other screamed. He read our goddamn mind. We know it. Staring at him through the open window, my mouth hung agape. My poker face was suddenly contorted into unabashed shock and amazement. At first, I don't think he understood what had happened. Or more accurately, he didn't understand right away that I'd trigged to the sitch, as my cooler older cousin Emily was fond of saying. His face looked truly puzzled. Was it something I said? Oh, I see, he said in a low voice, suddenly absent of any accent at all. Slowly, he nodded his head and leveled his eyes on mine. He wore an almost plaintive expression on his unpretentious mug. His voice was so soft, and I had to lean back inside the passenger window to hear him. Let's table that anomaly for now, shall we? Should you choose to take my offer, I promise to answer every question you may have, but only in the proper sequence. This particular question has come up out of sequence, unfortunately. Out of sequence? Just what in all of Hades did that mean? Anomaly? Offer? What offer? Does he mean the ride west? If not, then just what the fuck is he talking about? I was starting to think this guy was not just one card, but a whole damn suit shy of a full deck. I glanced back over my shoulder at the underpass and again considered hightailing it out of there. As creepy as this whole sitch, thanks, Emily, now I can't stop using that stupid word, makes me feel, it's the circumstances that are making me uneasy, not the man himself. Quite the contrary. This plain-looking fella gives off a very warm and friendly vibe. Not at all creepy or rapey. Not yet, anyway, my other cautioned. Still, being in the presence of the plain-looking fella was almost like reconnecting with an old friend or favorite relative. But damn it, horror stories I'd heard about hitchhiking and my need to take this ride were going 12 rounds in the ring inside my brain. I was dangerously close to losing my nerve. He said he'd take us clear to the coast for Hermie's sake. I can't turn that down, can I? And I couldn't shake the notion that there was something different happening here. This is something altogether other, my other advised. There's unimaginable opportunity here. The plain-looking fellow's voice came to me silently. Internally, I shuddered at the alien intrusion that was his voice in my mind. Outwardly, I shivered. Then I shook it off, and I asked him straight out, "Are you a weirdo with a capital W, man? A pervert, maybe? How do I know this detour of yours isn't some shack hidden away where you, how had Dad always put it, interfere with young boys like me?" His eyes sparkled, and that barely perceptible grin returned. "That is a very, prudent question, young man. The answer at this time is simply this. You cannot know. Not for sure. You don't have enough information. You could make projections based on the limited information at hand. You could use statistical analysis and agricultural aggregation. You could use statistical analysis and actuarial aggregation to make first and even second order projections, but not much more than that. Given what information you have at this moment, that is. Huh? I said, even though I knew what actuarial aggregation was. Actuarial aggregation. It has to do with insurance policy writing, accounting, and statistical analysis, among other things. He waved his hand around in front of his face while he said that last part, as if to convey that it really didn't matter right at that moment. My mind snapped back to full power. This guy's an insurance broker. That's why he's so damn awkward. Dude's a dweeb like me. Dude knows how to read minds and project thoughts into our brain. How many insurance salesmen can do that? My other countered. The Jedi mind tricks aside, I started to relax just a bit. To answer your question more directly, the plain-looking fellow began again. Some would call me weird by your standards, yes. But I'm not a weirdo with a capital W in the way that you mean. Nor am I a pervert, so far as I know. I can tell you factually that you're perfectly safe in my company, and that my only goal at this place and time is to offer you my assistance. God's help me, that did it. I had a gut feeling about this chance encounter, and I felt almost drawn to this plain-looking fella. It was like somehow I was exactly where I was supposed to be. That's it then. I'm taking this ride. I nodded to confirm my decision, more to myself than to him. Bet, I said. I reached through the open window and used the inside lever to unlatch the door, just like my man James Dean had done in that movie I'd seen. And I'm all in. Alrighty, folks. That's chapter 2, All the Answers by McFarland. I hope you enjoyed it. I sure did. Keep tuning in back to the channel. We're going to upload more chapters all the time. Hopefully one a week. Missed last week, had some technical difficulties, so I apologize for that. So this is the second installment, and thanks for stopping by. Have a good day.